I trust you enjoyed your evening. After all your efforts, it was well deserved. It may be some time before you're afforded another such night. There is much to be done, and I promised I would help you however I could. I'm certain a cure for you can be found at Moonrise Towers, but it's complicated. The journey specifically, it's extremely perilous, though it seems you're well accustomed to navigating danger.
What's so dangerous about it?
To get to the towers, you'll need to pass through a terrible place. A cursed place. This curse shrouds everything in shadow. You will not find life, light, or anything natural there. Any who linger are twisted by the curse. They become shadow beings, tormented, dangerous souls.
The Absolute's forces can tolerate such a place?
So it seems, though I don't know how. You'll have to choose your approach carefully. You could go overland, along the Risen Road or through the mountains. Easier at first, but you'll run into the Shadow Curse eventually. You could also go under. There is a tunnel somewhere in the ruined Temple of Selûne. It leads to Moonrise Towers through the Underdark. Long ago, a man called Ketheric Thorm built a secret stronghold deep down there, before rallying a whole army of Dark Justiciars, Shah worshippers.
Dark Justiciars? I must see for myself.
Aradin and his lot were looking for a way down there. They were promised riches if they retrieved a relic called the Night Song. But I think there's more. From this stronghold, Ketheric's forces could access both the Temple of Selûne and Moonrise Towers. But he was defeated before he could launch an attack. If you can find this place, I'll wager it will reveal a more direct path to Moonrise Towers. And maybe even bypass the worst of the Shadow Curse.
So how do I find this underground route?
You'll need to pick it up where Aradin left off. Find the hidden entrance. It's somewhere in the Temple of Selûne.
What would you do?
The decision is yours, but I'd favor the Underdark. Even a place like that is the lesser evil compared to the shadow-cursed lands.
I never thought I'd say this, but it sounds like the Underdark is the safer route.
Anything is preferable to risking the Shadow Curse. I would like to join your camp, if you'll allow me. I can offer my skills, my counsel. I've long sought to return to Moonrise Towers. It seems our fates have aligned.
You want to come to Moonrise as well? Why?
Unfinished business, and a lifetime of regret to repair. I helped overthrow Ketheric Thorm and his Dark Justiciars years ago, but I failed to prevent him from unleashing darkness across the region before he was defeated. I spent years researching the curse, trying to put an end to it. Nothing has worked. Yet, if I can join you and get close to Moonrise, perhaps I can lift this curse. Same as you may find a cure for your infection.
Is that why you went with Aradin? You thought he might uncover this route to Moonrise.
Precisely. Then perhaps I could have done something about both the Shadow Curse and Ceremorphosis aberrations. But in my eagerness, I put far too much faith in the abilities of Aradin and his band. We didn't even get close.
What about the Grove?
I've chosen a successor as first druid, Francesca of the High Forest. A bird's already been dispatched to summon her.
What about one of the others? Wrath, perhaps?
Wrath has promise, but he has a ways to go yet. He wasn't able to stop Korga by himself. The Grove needs experience and a strong hand. The Grove needs to move beyond the mistakes of the past. What it needs is an unknown quantity. An outsider who can enforce the Oakfather's teachings without bias. This is why I chose Francesca. She will restore simplicity and purity to the Grove in my absence.
Won't this cause resentment?
Resentment will spring up like mushrooms no matter what I do. You cannot please everyone, and you'd be a fool to try. Now, we've quite the journey ahead. Best get started.
Do not be so impatient to move on as Halsin. As ever, the Githyanki Kresh remains our priority.
All's well, I hope.
I wanted to talk to you about that night we spent together.
I was going to say the very same thing, as soon as I worked up my courage a little. I can't recall the last time I shared so much with someone. Maybe I never did before. It meant a lot to me. You mean a lot to me. And that was before the kiss.
That night meant a lot to me, and I hope there's more to come.
I hope so too. Though I'm not sure what kind of courtship we'll be afforded, given all that we're facing. But if you want to see where this goes, I do as well.
You seemed intrigued when Halsin mentioned Dark Justiciars before.
Wouldn't you be in my place? If there's even the slightest chance that Shah worshippers remain within our reach, we should try and find them. Even if they're all long gone, and that seems quite likely from what we know, who knows what they may have left behind for us to use? My people are nothing if not resourceful.
As long as I've prayed to Lady Shah, I've wished to serve her as a Dark Justiciar. There is scarcely a greater way to fully dedicate yourself to Lady Shah, save perhaps if you become the head of her church. To become a Dark Justiciar is to become the Night Singer's sword arm, her implement with which she will cast down the unbelievers and win the final battle to restore her perfect, endless darkness. It's all I ever wanted. I prayed it was my calling. But Mother forbid me from seeking to prove myself worthy of the rank. She said I was not ready. Not my mother, I should add. The Mother Superior, head of Lady Shah's enclave in Baldur's Gate. Sometimes I wonder if she would ever deem me ready. I owe her everything, and I only wish to serve, yet she can prove inscrutable.
Do you think she'll ever relent and make you a Dark Justiciar?
I don't know. Perhaps if I succeed in my mission and reach Baldur's Gate. Hope has little place amongst Lady Shah's children. It's an illusion, a distraction. But for this, I hope my time will yet come.
I don't understand. Why be secret about such an ambition?
Dark Justiciars are hated by many, judged to be ruthless fanatics. Even the few who would accept a follower of Lady Shah would likely balk at a Justiciar in their midst. But there's a simpler answer to your question. I simply forgot about the desire I had until I saw some things that reminded me. Now, I can't get it out of my mind.
Thank you for sharing. You and we share something special, I think. I want to talk about it.
Very serious of you. But go ahead.
Your goddess surely can't approve of what you and I share.
Who is to say? Perhaps she's keen to see me corrupt you. I can imagine she'd be delighted to turn a follower of Selûne towards the darkness.
I want to talk about all that's happened to us.
Fine. What's on your mind?
What do you think about what happened to the Druid Grove?
I suppose some would commend our actions. Goblins would have razed that whole place to nothing if it weren't for us. No excuse to rest on our laurels, though. We've still got our own problems to contend with.
How am I holding up in your estimations?
Quite splendidly, to give credit where it's due. You and I have shared some good times together, and it seems we have plenty in common.
Hey, soldier.
It sounds like all we need to do to fix your engine is find some infernal iron.
Let's hope Damon is as good as he seems. Once my engine's handled, I can focus on more important matters. Tadpoles, cults, frosty pints. Speak.
You said you were going to share your bunk with Astarion.
So I did, and he served his use. Most enthusiastically, I might add. I may even avail myself of his talents again, should he keep his fangs off my flesh.
Is it me, or have you been looking at me differently?
I have a confession. I was too hasty to judge you. I thought you witless, gutless, unimpressively bland.
And I thought you cruel, stubborn, and judgmental.
Yes, all that is true. I am cold as the sea of night. But you have stoked fires I didn't know I possessed. I swear, you would tear the horns off one dragon for plunging into another. You've gained my respect, and more still, my yearning. When I come near, your odor alone is enough to make my neck sweat and my hairs stand on end.
Hold on. Are you coming on to me?
Isn't it obvious? I want to taste you. Perhaps tonight, perhaps later, but I want it all the same. Do you?
I'm flattered, but the answer is no.
Your loss, I fear. One day soon, you will wonder how my lips might have tasted, how my fingers on your skin might have felt, and you will wish you could return to this lost moment.
My condition likes being ignored as little as I do. I must consume another artifact. And soon. Thank you. Good gods. It hardly has any effect. Oh, Mistra, have mercy on us all. Listen, I need to speak to you, to all of you. It would be unconscionable of me to remain silent.
Go on. You're among friends.
I might just be about to remedy that. You have to know who I was. You have to know who I really am. What I am is a walking shadow of the promise I once held. I'm what one might call a wizard prodigy. Who from an early age could not only control the weave, but compose it. Much like a musician or a poet. Such was my skill that it earned me the attention of the mother of magic herself. The Lady of Mysteries. The goddess Mistra. She revealed herself to me and she became my teacher. In time, she became my muse. And later, even my lover.
Are you telling me you made love to a goddess?
Oh, yes. We enjoyed each other's company. Body, mind, and soul. But even so, I desired more. You see, no matter how powerful a wizard we mortals can become, we never scratch more than the surface of the weave. Mistra keeps us in check. There are boundaries she doesn't let us cross, yet Every time I was with her, I stood on the precipice, gazing into the wonders that lay beyond. I sought to cross her boundaries.
How exactly did you try to cross those boundaries?
I tried to convince her. I pouted. I pleaded. Swore my ambition was only to serve her better. She only smiled and told me to be contented. Inconceivable as it seems to me now, I shared a bed with a goddess, and yet I wasn't satisfied. So I sought to prove myself worthy to her instead. We come now to the crux of my folly. Shall I share the story behind it, or would you rather head straight to its sordid finale?
I'm intrigued. Tell me all.
Very well. Here goes. Once upon a very long time ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower. A flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his history for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. He almost managed, but not quite. And his entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic that was unleashed that day was phenomenal. Roiling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. Even the weave itself could not withstand the onslaught. It fractured, then shattered, and all magic was lost to the mortal realms, until the day Mystra returned. She restored the weave, reuniting all its scattered shards. Or so I thought. Until, in the course of my studies, I learned of a book. A Netherese tome in which a piece of the fractured weave had been sealed beyond her reach. What if, I thought, what if, after all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess?
I guess you ruled out flowers and chocolates altogether then.
You know me. My gestures can never be grand enough. I was certain that this deed of raw power, draped in romance, would convince Mystra to take me by the hand and welcome me into her hitherto forbidden domains. I was mistaken. I obtained the fabled book and took it into my study. As for what happened next... Here. Place your hand over my heart. Let me show you.
You feel the tadpole quiver as you realize Gale is letting you in, into the dark. You see through Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. A book, bound, and suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws, it's unstoppable as it digs through and becomes part of you. And gods, is it ever hungry.
How are you still alive?
Thankfully, the moment I absorbed the fragment wasn't enough to kill me outright. It was only the beginning. This Netherese blight, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. And it needs to be fed. As long as I absorb traces of the weave from potent enough sources, it remains quiet. Were it ever to fully destabilize, however.
You will die.
Rather worse, actually. I will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry, it'd level a city the size of Waterdeep. We might chance upon a king's collection of magical artifacts around the corner. We might cross paths with a miracle round the bend. Then again, we might not. All of this, it must feel like a betrayal. Say the word, and we'll part ways.
We've come this far together, and we'll continue on together. That is how it will be.
That is a great relief. Oh, a great relief indeed. You truly are a soul that steals my own. From all my new rallied heart, I thank you. I thank you all. I understand if you stand against me. I'm humbled if you stand with me. Either way, I will do my best not to let you down. I stand at a precipice, but if you do not give up hope, neither shall I. I'll fight. I'll resist as long as I can. Now, even I am tired of the sound of my own voice. Let us venture forth.
Oakfather's blessings to you.
I have to ask, how do you know so much about the parasite?
I studied one up close. Closer than most would care to be to those things. A drow attacked me and I defended myself. Afterwards, I was able to examine the tadpole that emerged. Hideous, but fascinating. Like nothing else in nature, I'm glad to say.
This shadow curse you spoke of, surely it can't be that bad.
It's had the whole region around Moonrise Towers in a chokehold of darkness and despair for years now. Those who remained are shadow cursed. If you don't die at their hands, then you become one of them. We have to get to Moonrise, but the less time we spend in its blighted surrounds, the better.
What about this secret stronghold in the Underdark? You must know more.
Precious little. But I'm quite certain it can still be found. Aradin was convinced there was a hidden entrance in the Temple of Selûne. I'd start there.
Seems like you feel responsible for this shadow curse somehow.
Well, there's hardly anyone left to share the responsibility with. Few who witnessed the fall of Moonrise still draw breath. What Ketheric Thorm unleashed is not something that nature can undo by itself. I must do what I can. I studied the shadow curse for years, but to truly understand it and stop it, I must reach its source.
Do you know how the shadow curse can be stopped?
Perhaps, but we'll need to get closer before I can put my theory into practice. Put it from your mind for now. Once we near the curse, then there will be more to be said.
At the celebration with the tieflings before, I hope I didn't come over too strong. Got caught up in the moment.
There are few things that are too strong for me. And cast those regrets aside. You did not get caught up in the moment. You seized it. In other circumstances, I would have done the same.
I'm glad I didn't leave a bad impression then.
A bad impression? Impossible.
How are you faring out here at the camp?
With such stimulating company? Never better.
Looks like these plates on the floor can be turned.
This goes very far down. We'll have to go in to see the bottom.
when I was getting used to the sky again.
Fear not, Karlak. Sun, moon, and stars will still be there, waiting.
Place is pretty spectacular, isn't it?
No book or painting could ever do its strange beauty justice. But perhaps our stories might, when we return to the surface.
Can you believe this is my first time in the Underdark? The world is so big!
The Underdark, as if we didn't face enough dangers back up on the surface.
The Underdark has a certain menacing beauty to it, though I'll be happier admiring it from a safe distance.
You seem to know a good deal about our condition.
Everything, really. Not to put too fine a point on it. Get back.
A humble specimen, more effort than a pit of spite.
On occasion.
Credit where it's due. The air's thick with spores. They must thrive in the dark.
More are coming.
That voice. Do you hear it too?
They're coming. They're coming.
No, listen. A mic in it. It's warning us.
They're coming. You're coming.
You are swallowed by a chorus of turbulent music. Through one creature sing many voices, the harmony of an entire collective.
Sovereign, he has come. He is here.
The choir fades. A single melody rises above the others, brassy and commanding.
I am sovereign.
You see a vision. Your lifeless body wrapped in fungal tendrils. The Sovereign is threatening you.
State your purpose.
You detect a distinct quiver in every note. These creatures have experienced recent tragedy.
I sense your fear. I've come to aid you.
Fungal roots weave through your mind, seeking your true intent. Then the Sovereign drones a new melody, cautious but welcoming.
Descend to me. Let us speak in flesh.
The persistent music coaxes you forward. The Sovereign expects you. Fungus and mold glaze the grotesque creature's face and body. A voice drifts into your mind as you gaze upon the misshapen servant.
Leave this one. Come to me. We must speak.
What is the creature doing?
Sovereign's thick fingers stroke the corpse at its feet. A droning melody greets you as the creature turns its gaze to you.
Flesh talker, I show you a memory. Watch and listen.
A violent vision grips you. Dwergar, dark dwarves chopping myconid remains.
They broke our peace. They killed our young.
The Sovereign's song slows to the pace of a dirge. It is still in mourning.
We laid waste to many, but intruders remain. Lakewood.
The Sovereign's song halts as it measures your worth.
I sense your resolve. You will find Dwergar invaders near Lake's Edge. Cleanse the rot. Destroy them.
I suppose such wicked killers deserve wicked ends.
Why did these Dwergar attack?
Deep purples swirl into familiar shapes. Gnomes in mining gear, chased by Dwergar.
The Dwergar seek a gnome. It is a guest.
You harbor a fugitive gnome? Admirable of you.
The Sovereign says nothing, but you hear appreciation in its song.
Sure, I can handle those Dwergar nearby.
An illusion comes over you. A Dwergar choking on a cloud of gleaming dust.
Accept this gift. It will help you exterminate.
The Sovereign gifts you one more vision. A wall of vines parting to reveal glowing light.
Riches of magic and mind. Cleanse the rot, and they are yours. You do the circle a service. We will await word.
Planting spores in a corpse. What magic is this?
We breathe life into our enemy's flesh. The dead make a fine host for my growing children.
These spores hold such power. How might I gain this knowledge?
You may not. The spores hear only the circle. They dance to no other harmony.
Don't.
Her condition is familiar. Poison, derived from a wild weed common to the Underdark. She'll need an antidote soon, most likely held by the poisoner.
Who did this to you?
Dwergar slashed me.
If the Dwergar poisoned you, perhaps they have the cure.
Graze. Don't share. Talking hurts. Leave me. Please.
Like dwarves, Dwergar have innate resistance to poison, and thus no need for intricate brews. Though deadly if left untreated, the poison can be cured by the antidote or natural remedies.
Gods. Whatever that is, I needed it. Why are you helping me?
How could I pass by? You were in pain.
No arguments there. Felt like a hook horror was sorting through my guts. But
cure did the trick. Quick, sharp too.
I thank you for your help, but I gotta get moving. Oh,
It hurts.
Coles garters. Oh, I don't have time for this. My kin need me.
You're in no condition to help anyone.
Maybe not, but you are. I need you to rescue my kin. We can pay. We're Ironhand Clan, best artificers in Baldur's Gate. We were on an expedition down here when the Dwergar snatched us up. I got away, but not the others. The Greys have them digging out some old ruin across the lake.
What was this expedition your clan were on?
Just mining for materials. Nothing unusual.
The briefest hesitation, but enough. She's lying.
But our work pays well. Help my clan and we'll make it worth your while, I swear.
You're lying.
Fine. It's complicated, but my clan has trouble back in the city. A blood feud. We were searching for something to turn the tide. That's all I can say. But it's worth a lot to us. Understand?
No, I don't understand. Enough evasion and explain it.
Look, you've done me a good turn and you deserve the truth. But that's as much of it as I can tell, I swear it. If you need to go your own way, I respect that, but still, I'm asking.
Alright, I'll free your people if I can.
Thank you. Only wish I could go with you. But here. I nabbed these boots from the Greys when I ran. I'll feel better knowing you're using them to kick some Dwergar ass. I'll mark where I made my escape, and wait here, I suppose. Not much choice, eh?
Ah, a visitor. You're a welcome sight. But let us observe the customs of the locals.
The scholar's brow tenses. His voice spills into your skull, the spores connecting mind to mind.
Blurg, proud member of the Society of Brilliance, at your service. Or perhaps not. Your mind is far more complex than that of the fungi.
I've never heard of the Society of Brilliance.
Understandable. We are small in number and rarely stay in one place for long. My colleagues and I are working to improve conditions in the Underdark. This need not be such a dire, hostile place. It's curious to find a surface dweller here. What has brought you down so deep?
A mind flayer infected me with a tadpole.
Truly remarkable. But why come to the Underdark, where they hold so much power?
I was infected with an illithid tadpole, and I believe a cure awaits for me at Moonrise Towers, and there's a route to there from the Underdark.
You were infected by an illithid tadpole? It's a miracle you're still intact. You must be worried sick, but have no fear. I have a friend who may be able to assist. Omelium!
I hope this is important, Blurg. My Zerkwood samples need constant attention.
It is. This adventurer has an illithid tadpole inside his head, but he hasn't turned.
No ceremorphosis. That's impossible, but intriguing. Are you looking to have it extracted?
An illithid is your friend. How is that possible?
I have broken free from the Elder Brain's yoke. I no longer serve the grand design. I ask that you refrain from violence. while I respect that your opinion of my kind may not change.
What is the Grand Design?
A collective quest to eliminate the Gith and enslave all other humanoids. If that settles matters for the time being, would you like a diagnosis? Open your mind to me. Let us see what lurks within.
As the Meloan's mind pierces yours, the tadpole pulses with power. It feels 10 times its size. Alive, awake, almost smug.
This is most unusual. The incubation period should be complete, as should your transformation. But the larva is infused with strange magic. It appears to be in some form of stasis.
Can you extract the tadpole?
No. It appears to be shielded from physical and magical influence. And even without the shield, the extraction would involve severe cranial trauma.
How severe? I have healing magic.
I intend no disrespect, but one can only heal so much of their own brain tissue. But not to worry. Should you transform, I will happily perform a new examination.
When I was infected, I was on a Mind Flayer ship, a Nautiloid.
A Nautiloid? Fascinating. I have never set foot on one myself. They were our warships during the greatest eras of the Illithid Empire. We ruled the entire astral plane from their decks. The design was lost when the Gith rebelled and ended our dominion.
Thanks for the information.
Of course. I am sorry I cannot assist you in its removal. But I have an idea.
Oh, perhaps I should start taking notes.
There may be a way to bypass that stasis. There are many alchemical substances that can influence the mind.
Isn't the stasis why the tadpole hasn't killed me yet?
I do not intend to shatter its protection. I need only bypass the interference that prevents me from communicating with the larva.
Bypass? What kind of alchemy are we talking about?
A tincture distilled from a collection of rare mushrooms. They have subtle psionic influence. I would require a fresh ton of madness and Timusk spores. But be warned, in their natural state, both of these mushrooms can be quite dangerous. Timusks cause confusion in those that approach them. The tongue is self-explanatory.
Lovely. So where do I find these mushrooms?
The Underdark, of course, although they are quite rare, and their discovery perilous. I imagine Lenore would have them in her possession. She served Mystra as a cleric.
Why would a cleric have a bunch of dangerous mushrooms?
She is quite fond of her garden. Lenore has always been a lonely sort. Nature was her only companion. I offered her the chance to join the society, but she refused. Her experiments on Susa bark took priority.
Eating those doesn't sound like a great idea.
My formula will hamper the more harmful effects once the mushrooms are brewed into a potion. Your sanity, however much you possess, should remain intact.
Alright, I'll come back when I find the mushrooms.
May your travels be safe and swift.
Looking at something?
How did you know I was here?
The only benefit to a mirror when you have my condition. It doesn't quite make up for the lack of a reflection, mind you.
Do you miss it? Seeing your own face?
Preening in the looking glass? Petty vanity? Of course I miss it. I've never even seen this face. Not since it grew fangs and my eyes turned red.
What color were they before?
I don't know. I can't remember. My face is just some dark shape in my past. Another thing I've lost. What?
I'll be your mirror. What do you want to know?
I want to know what the world sees when it looks at me. What you see.
Strong, piercing eyes.
Oh. Go on.
That dangerous smile.
Very good. Now just tell me I'm beautiful and we can call it a day.
You're fine. Now, Shadowheart. There's a beauty.
How dare you? I thought we had something special. Still, you're nice too. I better get some beauty sleep. It seems I need it if I'm to catch up with the competition.
You know, I've been catching myself smiling more lately. I think that's your fault.
How are you faring?
Always good when I'm with you.
Speak.
You said I've earned your respect. So why are you so rude all the time?
If you must know, Vlaakith requires everything of her children. I can't count how many bruises I've inflicted. Can't measure how much blood I've drawn in the Undying Queen's name. I know only blood red and death black. My mind is silver, and my body steel. I am what I must be, say what I must be, to survive every beast I face and every wound I bear.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
I was wondering about that mighty lord you told me about in your story.
Ah, yes. Karsus. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistril, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like. To be a god. To know yourself, to be untouchable. To be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel, and with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistril sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistral, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more, an event that came to be known as Karsus's folly.
So at that moment in time, all magic was gone.
For a spell, Mistral was reborn as Mistra. Upon her return, the weave returned with her. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mistra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go.
If you ever feel the Netherese magic overtaking you, what will you do?
If it should ever come to that, if I ever know I am no longer able to stop it, I will do anything I can to ensure no one but me pays for my mistakes. I will find the remotest place on the surface of Faerun, or perhaps far below in the depths of the Underdark. I will await that death, alone. I promise I will not betray your trust. You kept me by your side despite the menace that I am. If worst comes to worst, I will be long gone before the curtain falls.
Ah, my good fellow. Quite the cozy setup you have here. I'll just make myself comfortable. Thank you so much.
Has your research turned up anything that might help with this parasite problem?
My research turned up a rather brilliant technique that seems quite actionable. It's not too deep, just behind the orbital socket. I could attempt an extraction. I've a needle in my tunic, after all.
How many times have you done this before?
I assure you, I've dreamt of it 1,000 times over.
Do it.
Volo carefully holds one of your eyes open and begins to prod uncertainly with the needle.
Do you have the faintest idea what you're doing?
Don't fidget. The needle must slip behind your eye, not through it.
The needle finds the gap between eyeball and socket. Volo frowns and begins to push. Pain shoots through your body as the needle snags on your optic nerve.
I think I have it!
The needle seesaws back and forth, plucking the nerve like a harp string.
Oh, bother. There's some obstacle in the way. I shall need a more robust implement.
That obstacle is my eye. Stop at once.
Stop? Now?
Yes, we're done here.
Regrettable. Mark my words. Ceramorphosis will be far more painful than this procedure.
I promised I'd be back.
Don't worry. I have things under control. For now. You haven't been using the parasite's power. You think you don't need it. But things haven't gone as you expected. You hoped a druid as powerful as Halsin might be able to remove your tadpole. But he couldn't. You're desperate to be rid of it. Understandable. But you're looking for solutions in the wrong places.
Halsin mentioned that these tadpoles had been modified with magic.
Yes. Halsin is correct. Your parasite is unusual. It is wrapped in magic that prevents its removal. Until the source of the tadpole's magic is destroyed, any attempt to remove it will kill you. You are lucky that Halsin knew this. His instincts are right. The parasites are merely a symptom of a greater sickness in Faerun.
What is the sickness?
The absolute aims are not yet clear to me, but its progress towards domination is clear. These parasites are more than illithid spawn. They are vessels for control. The infected hear the voice of the Absolute and believe it to be a god. That is how the cult of the Absolute is spreading. The highest of their rank, the True Souls, carry a tadpole just like yours. It is how they receive their orders. It is what makes them obey. When the order to transform is given, it will not be a matter of days. They will be mind flayers in an instant. Were it not for my protection, so would you.
So who are you?
It's complicated, but I'm an adventurer, just like you. Just like you, I was infected with a mind flayer parasite. Just like you, I seek to be free of it. I've been trying to escape from this evil for a long time. Once, I almost succeeded. Now, through you, I've been given a new chance. You can go where I cannot, and I can protect you from that evil. If we work together, we may turn this around. Hells, they need me. I have to go.
What is going on over there?
The power I used to protect you, I stole it from someone. They want it back. I will hold them off for as long as I can, but sooner or later I will be worn down. You must discover the source of the magic that controls the parasites before that happens. The cultists are gathering at Moonrise Towers. Use the powers your parasite gives you to convince them you are one of them. And when you find the source of their magic, destroy it. Go. Our freedom depends on it.